Hello guys, and today I'm going to be showing off Cerulean Materials. This is a texture pack that I made a couple years ago back in 2021, and I never properly used it because the build that I was making it for essentially never made it out of the planning phase. But I'm going to show you off the texture pack today, as well as some of the planning that I had for the build because, well, I had quite a bit. So about half this texture pack is essentially building stuff, and half of it is furniture. Because if you've been watching my series, you know that I like to detail my builds. But let me take you through the changes real quick. So the iron bars have been made black, or roughly the color of the darker iron materials. Specifically, this is based off the color palette of the cauldron. And I think that helps blend it into builds a lot easier. So if you see over there, we have some iron railings that are acting as kind of like a balcony. Over here we have the chiseled sandstone. If you remember, in normal Minecraft, the chiseled sandstone is a carved creeper face. And while that's neat for what it's used for in the base game, I think for trying to actually build with it, it's much more useful to have something like this, which is essentially just a color swapped version of the normal chiseled sandstone. The normal chiseled stone brick blocks. One of the optional additions to this texture pack are the bricks. So for my purposes, I was trying to make a build that's, I'd say, kind of Mediterranean. Not really specifically going for any one country, but I wanted to get that kind of like a Roman roof tile look. So my bricks look like this because it helped me make the roofs, and I'll show you a couple more. But I think it creates a nice effect. And if I take you over, this is kind of what it looked like for some other houses that I had. So if we go over here, this is a much steeper roof, but it's still using the same blocks. And then all these houses as well are using these same tiles. Coming back over now, we're gonna get into the decoration stuff. So this is kind of a random one, but cobwebs in the game have a very kind of bluish white texture. And in this version, I wanted to make them a lot more yellow. Essentially just to blend them in with the color palette better. So doing it this way, they tend to stand out a lot less. And I think they look more like, I'd say kind of video gamey cobwebs usually do, which is a more kind of like a waxy, dusty appearance. Getting into more of the decoration bits. The ladders have been made the color of spruce, again for basically blending purposes. All the little saws and hammers have been taken off of the crafting table. And here we can see that the scaffolding has had the center filled in completely in order to make it look more like a table. Because one of the things I like doing for my tables is essentially using the scaffolding because it has the 4 little legs. And this way you don't have to worry about it looking weird because there's holes in the middle. Here we have a beehive. And I'll show you. I believe it's... I can't do it that way. Anyway, essentially this is the normal beehive, and this is the beehive when it's filled with honey. So you can do that with commands if you want, but essentially just 2 different styles of cabinets. As for the trapdoors, I removed a lot of those handles. So usually there's like an ugly gray handle in some of these, and that's completely gone. As for the warped trapdoor, I made it essentially the reverse version of this, or you could say, God, I don't remember the name of the block now. Yeah, it's essentially the crimson. Because otherwise I find it kind of hard to build with. And as well, I took all the vines off of the warped door to make it easier to build with. Going into smaller detail blocks, the turtle eggs now look like normal eggs. Again, this way you can put them in your kitchen builds and they look more just normal instead of having blue dots on them. as well as these sea pickles, now look more like cups. In this case, I modeled them after kind of like little wooden mugs. We have the bow and arrow, which is based off of the oak textures. This is the totem of undying, and I made it look like a little cross. Again, I was going for a pretty Mediterranean build, so it kind of fitted my purposes. Over here we have a pumpkin pie. I put the slice back in because the slice is taken out in the base game. And one of those little things that I like is having the idea of like having coins somewhere. So say around like a statue or a fountain. So we have the nuggets, both gold and iron nuggets have been turned into a little pile of coins. And over here we have the allium, which has been turned into lavender. So let me show you around some of the planning that I had for the build, because that's essentially it for the texture pack stuff. And since this is never really going to see the light of day, I figure I might as well tack it onto the end of this. Just because I think some of it is still neat, and hopefully one of you will be inspired and say, you know, either that's really cool, or I wish that was in a not flat world, let me remake that myself. And you'll kind of go on your own way. So here we have a pretty simple cannon design with some cannonballs. Those are player heads. We have a little fountain square here, as well as playing around with the ideas for some clock towers. Here we have a gateway. Some of this build is based off of Beauclair in The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. So some of the things like this is based off of the Cooper's Gate, I believe. I'll save this a little bit for last, just because it's the only thing that actually has an interior. But we also have here was supposed to be the essentially an artist's college, so like a guild for painters. So it's going to have this little courtyard in the middle, a secondary courtyard here, and then this is basically like, this is the student halls. These are just connecting wings. This would be a storage area, and then coming through here we would have like student dorms, teacher living spaces and stuff. I've still never made a proper like artist's guild. I should get on that. I actually talked about in my last video, Clonmare, one of the things I did there was a little art shop. Here we have me messing around with using the debug stick for walls. Kind of a mess, but I think it looks good from far away. And then I'll just show you a couple more things. So these were just some houses that I was trying out. You can see me trying to work on my color palettes for the build. And lastly, I'll show you the cathedral. You're coming through these huge bronze and spruce doors. Might be a little bit dark in here, but I'll just raise the brightness a little bit in post. You can see that there is a pretty detailed like tile floor design. Up here, it's all completely open. So to kind of emphasize the vibe that we are in the Mediterranean and its nice weather, trying to get a lot of light and kind of fresh air into here. We can walk down the aisles on the side. Both sides of this are essentially mirrored. So we have some prayer candles as well as a confessional. Over here we have the little podium. I don't know what it's called exactly, but this is where you would give the sermons. Here is for the choir, and this is the proper altar. It's really big. Tried to go for scale with this one. I think this is one of my better chandelier designs, but I would probably use light blocks if I did it now. That's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, tell me your thoughts. And this is kind of acting as a segue into my next video, which is Should you build with texture packs? Because if I take off the texture pack for these things, I'll show you right now actually, it starts to look a little bit rough. I like the bricks in Minecraft for what they are, but they really don't fulfill the purpose of being tiles. So all of a sudden your build starts to look a lot rougher around the edges, and you end up with some bits that don't really make sense like these, and it's kind of just a mess. But I'm going to get into that more next episode. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, and I will see you guys in a few days. See ya.